Hey, come on in. Let's go get some afternoon coffee here. We got stuff to talk about. Let me get my dog, my cat. Uh, Come here, Zoe. Slight delay. Zoe, come on. Get inside. Come on. I need coffee. Come on. There we go. So, is everyone watching the news right now? Finally. Are you watching the news? Oh, my coffee machine needs to heat up, so we're going to be waiting for a little while here. So I've got some first reactions about the headline news of the moment, which is that James Comey just got fired. So here are just my first reactions. I'm watching the folks on the news try to figure out what's going on here, because apparently it's not entirely obvious why today, right? But here's my first reaction. I'm listening to the news for 10 minutes where person after person is saying why James Comey might have been fired. And I'm thinking to myself, have you ever heard of anybody who had so many reasons to be fired? Holy hell. If I had 15 reasons to be fired and everybody had a different one, I'd be pretty worried about my job. So, uh, it, so, so the story is not that he just got fired. In my mind, the story is how could anybody have so many reasons for getting fired, or so many? Some of them are political. Some of them have to do with some kind of technicality in the law, something he didn't do. Some of it because he lost confidence. There's a whole range of things. He was handsome, though. He was very tall. He was tall, and he had excellent hair. So he had that going for him. I'll tell you, I've said this since the beginning, but I think Comey was legitimately trying to do the best thing that could be done in a bad situation for the country, which is to say, he probably did bend or break some rules of his job. But I think he did it so that he didn't take, let's say, for example, Hillary Clinton off the table. Because if he had taken her out of the election through some actions of his, let's say more actions, some say he did take her out of the election. But let's say he could have done more, like, recommend prosecution or something. He could have gone that way, but he didn't. And he gave the country a chance to, have their choice. He could have made the election only about Trump, and then even if Trump won, and even if you were happy about him being president, he would be less legitimate because his only competitor, got taken out by Comey if such a thing had happened. So, obviously he took a lot of heat for his announcement anyway, and some say that made the difference. But it could have been a lot worse, He could have arrested her, I suppose. So he was in, as Charles Krauthammer just said on TV, an impossible situation. So if you're in an impossible situation where you personally are going to lose anyway, and I think that's where he was going to lose. Either he screwed the country or he took care of his job. And either way, that's kind of losing. So I think he took the path of greatest losing for him, perhaps, but the best benefit for the voters, which is that they got to maintain their choice without him getting too much in the way. Could have been worse, though. Yeah, I'm sort of wondering what kind of prosecutions we might see out of this. I suppose that's the scary part, right? Now, the best reason I heard on the news for the timing I just heard right now is that is this true? The Attorney General is the boss of the FBI, and that Sessions had recused himself because he had been under investigation. So until they had a number two put in charge, the number two needed to be in charge to actually execute the firing or recommend it or be okay with it or some combination of bureaucratic consensus. Feel good. Barron Trump named as replacement. So, see if you find a pattern here. Trump is accused of being Putin's puppet, but after sending all those tomahawks into Putin's backyard in Syria, he doesn't seem like such a puppet anymore. Now, the other thing that was sort of on people's minds and in their consciousness recently, because Hillary Clinton had sort of resurfaced and started being quotable. And she had said that Comey was the reason that Trump won. In other words, sort of delegitimizing Trump. But what happens if Trump fires the guy that maybe got him elected? Like, how do you feel about that? Now, there's no real connection, right? There's no logical connection. They're just separate events. But how you feel about it is that suddenly Clinton's excuse that Comey was sort of, on Trump's side it feels less valid, even though there's no logical reason that should be true. But the fact that, we have this automatic response about, the enemy of my enemy is my friend sort of thing. If you see Trump move strongly against Comey,